Ethan Walsh had spent most of his high school years praying for graduation day. Not because he loved learning, he did, but because he wanted freedom from the cruel faces, the laughter, the jokes that carved themselves into his memory like scars. They called him Zero, Loser, Fatherless Charity Case. He remembered the way they shoved him into lockers, the way cafeteria tables went silent when he walked by, followed by snickering. And he remembered the teachers looking the other way. He graduated alone. 10 years passed. 10 years of silence from those same people. Until one evening, as he packed lunch for his 7-year-old daughter, Riley, his phone buzzed. A message from Jason Reed, the biggest bully of all. Yo, Ethan, we're all meeting for a 10-year hangout at the Copper Lounge. You should come. Everyone really wants to see you. That smiley face felt like a bruise. Ethan stared at the message for a long moment. The old part of him, the part that still felt 14 and worthless, told him to ignore it. But another part of him, the man he had become, simply smirked. Because life had changed. Ethan was no longer the boy they ridiculed. After high school, he had become a mechanic, then an engineer. Then he started a small workshop, then 2, then 5. His designs for high-efficiency engines exploded in popularity. Now he owned a manufacturing company, employed 127 people, and had clients across 3 countries. He was still humble, still quiet, still the same Ethan. But poor, weak, a loser. No. And the bullies had no idea. He looked at his daughter, sleeping on the couch, clutching her stuffed fox. He whispered, "Daddy, coming home soon, okay? I just have to go shut down a ghost." Riley didn't answer, but she smiled in her sleep. Ethan kissed her forehead, called the nanny, put on his clean black suit, fixed his cufflinks, and stepped into his garage. 3 cars waited there. A Mustang, a matte black G-Wagon, and a gleaming silver Rolls Royce Phantom, polished like a mirror. He chose the Rolls, not to show off, but to deliver a message life had written for him. When he arrived at the Copper Lounge, the valet nearly fainted. "Sir, this is the finest car I've ever parked." Ethan just nodded, "Take care of her." Inside, the laughter was loud, too familiar. Jason Reed spotted him first. "Oh my God," Jason announced loudly. "Guys, the legend himself, the Zero, actually came." Laughter erupted. Ethan walked in calmly, hands in pockets, eyes steady. He saw a familiar woman at the table, Ashley, the girl he once had a crush on in high school. She used to laugh when the boys bullied him, but when she saw him now, her jaw dropped. "Ethan," she whispered. She stared at him like he was a different species. Jason slapped Ethan's back harder than necessary. "Man, glad you came. We were just talking about old times." "Oh," Ethan's voice was smooth. "Which part? The time you locked me in the storage room, or the time you made me eat dirt behind the gym?" The entire table froze. Jason forced a laugh. "Come on, man, jokes, just jokes." Ethan sat down calmly. "Of course, I'm here to laugh." They didn't like his tone. "So," Ashley said, trying to recover, "what have you been up to all these years? Last we heard you were what, a mechanic?" Ethan sipped his water, "Something like that." Jason leaned forward, whispering loudly to the table, "Yeah, probably still fixing motorbikes in some dirty shop." Ethan lifted one eyebrow. "Dirty? No, quite clean, actually." Ashley giggled. "You live in the same old neighborhood." "No," Ethan replied calmly. "I moved." Jason smirked. "Oh, finally got out, huh? Where to? A 1-bedroom apartment?" Ethan smiled. "Something like that." He didn't have to explain, because fate was about to do it for him. Outside, the valet opened the door of Ethan's Rolls Royce to park it closer. the headlights sweeping across the windows of the lounge. One classmate near the window froze. "A guys that rolls outside, someone from here came in it." Jason laughed. "Please, none of us are that rich." But Ashley slowly turned pale, because she remembered the logo on Ethan's cufflinks. The same logo she'd seen in Forbes articles. "Ethan," she whispered, stunned, What company do you own?" Ethan looked at her for a long moment, as if deciding whether the truth was worth saying. Then he spoke quietly. "Walsh Engineering." Silence fell. Dead heavy, crushing. Because everyone knew Walsh Engineering. TikTok videos. News features. Viral interviews. He had turned the automobile world upside down. You own it," Ashley stammered. Jason blinked like a broken camera. "Bro, that company is worth." "A lot," Ethan finished. "Yes, it is." He stood, straightened his blazer. "And I came tonight because I wanted to see if the people who made my teenage years miserable had changed." No one dared breathe. "But I see you're the same," Ethan said quietly. Still mocking, still small. He slid a tip onto the table for the waiter. Then he walked out. Ashley scrambled after him. "Ethan, wait, I didn't know, I swear I didn't." He turned. "Ashley, I didn't want you to know I'm successful." Her breath hitched. "Why?" "Because I wanted to see how you treated someone you thought was still poor." She froze. And he walked away. Outside, the valet stood straight like a soldier. "Sir, your car." Ethan stepped into the Rolls, closed the door softly, and let the silence swallow him. As he drove away, Jason and Ashley ran out of the lounge, staring in disbelief as his car glided down the street like a silver ghost. Inside the Rolls, Ethan exhaled. He wasn't happy because he proved them wrong. He wasn't proud because they saw the car. He was at peace because he had built a life far away from their cruelty. A life built with love, with honor, with his own hands, and with one small girl sleeping at home waiting for him. When he opened his door quietly at home, Riley was sitting on the couch, rubbing her eyes. "Daddy." "Yeah, baby," Ethan knelt. She crawled into his arms. "You came back." He kissed her forehead, "Always." As the soft glow of the lamp lit their faces, Ethan realized something. He didn't need revenge. He didn't need validation. He already had the greatest success of all. A life full of peace, a beautiful daughter, and a future built on his own worth. He whispered into Riley's hair. "We don't need to prove anything to anyone, we just be better." And he held her tight. Because that was the only victory that mattered. The restaurant grew quieter the moment Ethan stepped inside, not because people recognized him, but because wealth carries a silence louder than noise. The maitre d' nearly tripped trying to greet him. "Sir, welcome, table for one." Ethan smiled. "I'm meeting old classmates." The maitre d's eyes flicked toward the corner where they sat, 4 men and 3 women, all dressed flashy but cheap underneath. They had frozen mid-laugh, mid-mockery, mid-sip of overpriced wine. The same kids who once stole his lunch, ripped his backpack and called him nothing. The same people who made sure he felt alone every school year. Except now, they were the ones swallowing fear. Ethan walked toward them, each step echoing in the room. Mark, the ringleader back then, now with thinning hair pretending to be thick, was the first to stand up. "Ethan, you look different." "Life does that," Ethan said calmly. His voice wasn't cold, that made it worse. They stammered, pulled out a chair, but Ethan didn't sit. "I heard you wanted to see me," Ethan said. 10 years is a long time, what's the occasion?" One of the girls, Heather, forced a smile. "We just thought it'd be fun, a little high school reunion." Ethan tilted his head. You mean the group chat where you planned to record my entrance and laugh when I showed up desperate and broke? The part where you said, "Bet he's still driving that trash can of a car." Their faces drained, nobody breathed. Mark swallowed. You weren't supposed to, someone must have. Ethan didn't let him finish. I don't need your apology. I didn't come for revenge either. He pulled the chair and sat elegantly, confidently, the opposite of the boy he once was. I came to show you something. He held his phone up and turned it around. On the screen was a picture, a small boy with a gap-toothed smile, missing front teeth, hugging Ethan's neck. That little boy. His son. His entire reason. My son asked me last night if I had any friends from school. I told him no, because I didn't want him to think friendship means pain. Heather blinked, guilt washing over her. Ethan continued softly, but then I realized something. If I come here angry, then you still control who I become. If I come here successful but hateful, then I'm no better. The table remained frozen, ashamed. So I came, Ethan said, to show him and myself that I can walk through every place I was once broken without bleeding again. A waitress approached. "Sir, your meal is on the house," she whispered. The manager said, "Anyone who arrives in a Rolls Royce deserves respect." Ethan smiled. "I don't need anything free. Bring everyone's bill. I'll pay." His old classmates gasped. "Why?" Mark asked. Ethan looked around the table, meeting each of their eyes. "Because I'm not the loser you knew, and because when you're truly happy, kindness is easy." They stared, speechless, the kind of silence only truth creates. Mark suddenly choked up. "Ethan, man, I'm sorry. We were kids, but it wasn't an excuse. We ruined you back then." "You gave me motivation," Ethan said gently, "and that's something I'll never forget." He stood. "I wish you all a good life, truly." He walked away. Not fast. Not proud. Just peaceful. At the door, the valet returned the Rolls Royce keys, bowing with respect. Ethan got in, closed the door softly, and looked in the rearview mirror at the table where his bullies sat, heads lowered, emotions heavy. He whispered to himself, smiling faintly, "Some victories don't need applause." And he drove away toward his son, his real home, and the future he built with his own hands.